Now, I think you clicked on this video because you are interested in building your financial capital. You're interested in being able to, work for yourself, do your own thing and make money on your terms. And this is really how you're going to do it. This is certainly how I've done it and the things that I've invested in order to create that for myself. There are 4 different types of capital that you need to be focused on before you're even thinking about building financial capital. One of the best types of capital you can invest in is intellectual capital, and that is maintaining that student mentality and actively investing in your self-development, your understanding of how things work, understanding of your particular industry. Really becoming an expert in your field is going to give you so much ammunition to then build financial capital. And of course, we know this all the time, when you start a job, it's because they're investing in the fact that you have a speciality, you have an interest, you are good at a particular thing, and they don't have that intellectual capital that you have. So they're investing in you to be able to do something that they can't do. People will invest in skills that they do not have that somebody else can do for them. Capitalizing on your expertise is when it becomes really powerful. And that means, for example, you can also share your intellect through a book. You don't have to keep writing a new book every time you make money. You're making passive income with something like a book. You're making passive income with something like a course. You're making passive income with any kind of modules that you do online. I'm a bit of a whiz on social media, so I've been able to capitalize on that. This isn't just limited to individual coaching courses or, teaching somebody how to do it. You can do that on a mass scale with YouTube. You can make money on YouTube, share your expertise. That's what I'm doing. I make money on my own experience, my own learning, my own healing journey. It's not something that people are ever gonna not need, just like things like coding. People are always gonna need that. People are always now gonna need expertise and understanding in AI. So choosing an industry where you're first of all passionate about, that's really key, because it's not sustainable if you're not passionate about it, but certainly one that people are going to need for the future and are going to want to learn more about is really important. Jumping on those kind of trends, although personally for me, I did it by accident. I just had a passion for social media and content creation, so I just happened to be able to capitalize on it. But if you can pick something that you're passionate about, you're good at, and that that people want, is going to be really powerful. Having that student mentality, constantly thinking, what could I learn? How could I improve myself? Because certainly for me, I think ego can sometimes get in the way. I definitely went through a phase where I was like, okay, that's not literally this, but I kind of got to the point where I was like, I pretty much know most things about social media, and I was sorely mistaken. And I had to switch from that ego place of like, I know everything, or I know quite a lot about this particular thing, and actually go from, look, I'm never going to know everything about this. I'm always going to be a student of social media, of content creation, of elevating myself, kind of becoming the best version of myself. I'm never going to stop learning. And if you can have that mentality, you are going to constantly be learning, constantly be improving, and you're going to be ahead of those people that are like, well, I know everything and that's it. You're not going to stagnate. You're always going to be ahead of the curve, and people are going to want to invest in that. People are going to want to invest in people that know the trends, know the changes in that industry and things that are up and coming. People will want to invest in that. I think a lot of people, certainly for me, in the past few years, have really underestimated the power of social capital, or just being somebody who's charismatic, being somebody, by the way, you can learn this, that's for another video, but if you can develop charisma, if you can get used to kind of presenting yourself and talking about yourself and self-promoting as well, which again is actually quite hard, I think, for British people, certainly in the culture that we're in. And if you have parents and so on that definitely value modesty and value kind of, not promoting yourselves, which personally for me, I do have parents that are more on that side, it can be really hard to actually unlearn the fact that that's what you should do. Because frankly for me, modesty and not self-promoting has never served me. It doesn't serve people that are business owners, content creators, or want to present. It just doesn't serve people like that. And a tip that we can take from Americans is that self-promotion is a good thing, and it's a good thing to talk about the things that you're doing, sharing what you're doing, what you're up to. That's actually a very valuable thing, and people get to know you. If you can do this on LinkedIn, by the way, you should have a LinkedIn profile. If you're an entrepreneur, a creator, you should be active on LinkedIn. It's such a valuable tool. You can add people that are related to your industry, and the great thing is that you can, if you're mutual with somebody else, then it's easier to add them. You can build your network. It's much easier to find new people. You can interact with their posts. Since I've been taking advantage of it, posting once a week or sometimes twice a week, my network has grown, but also just opportunities have grown as well. People are reaching out to me, I'm reaching out to them. The great thing about LinkedIn as well, this sounds like an ad, but it's not. You can literally video record yourself on there and pitch via video on LinkedIn chat now, which obviously gives it that more personal touch. something that I've definitely learned from my sales job. So being able to speak to people on the phone confidently, self-promote and talk about what you're doing when you go to networking events, actively going to networking events, actively wanting to meet people. And I know this sounds really exhausting because I get it. I'm actually somebody who in recent years I've realised I'm actually quite introverted, and I know that's not the same as being charismatic and confident and stuff like that. You can be confident and charismatic and still be introverted. It's not the same thing. But understanding that charisma is learned and being good in social situations is learned is really key. When I first started my sales job at the beginning of this year, I had become such a shell of myself. I really didn't like making mistakes in front of people. I just didn't like not being perfect in front of people. And this job has fully forced me to actively make mistakes, speaking to people on the phone, presenting to people, obviously, gaining a sale, understanding how sales work, understanding assumptive language, understanding, just how to present a product or service in the best way possible, which again I can utilize in my own brand and my own content creation, that kind of thing. As you can see here, if you look at videos like 6 months ago, I'm completely different. But having skills like that is definitely something that you can learn, and I'm a testament to that. Like I said, at the beginning of when I first started my sales job, I was kind of really nervous, a bit like self-conscious, and that's kind of to a far extent gone now. I reckon I could literally stand up on stage, do a TED talk now, and yeah, I'd probably make mistakes, but I'm okay with that. And I think that's a lot of where our social anxiety comes from, or where our self-consciousness comes from, is like we don't want to make mistakes, or we think people will find it embarrassing. And actually forcing yourself to like be embarrassed or be cringe or put yourself out there and it not always go perfectly is so empowering. If you can do that, you are on such a great trajectory to be able to grow a really great, really big network, because you're happy to present yourself, practice talking to somebody in the line for coffee and just strike a conversation up with them. Almost do these like little things every day or as often as you can to gain connections. And that's something that I'm definitely trying to do at the moment, is to, say if like the other day a waitress came over and I saw her nails, I was like, I love your nails, where'd you get them? And you strike up a conversation, and then somebody else might join in and say, oh, actually I get mine done here, and so on. But if you want to be more sort of deliberate about these things, it's really important to go to networking events and be in a place where people geographically are probably going to want services or products that you want. So for example, like, having said that, another thing that I want to mention is like, you can just strike up a random conversation with people because you never know what they could offer / what you could offer them. So I remember when I worked in a restaurant when I was in Manchester, and I saw this person journaling, and I actually have my own brand of journals called Hyder Club. If you want to go check them out, definitely do that in the description below. But anyway, I saw that she was journaling and I was really drawn to that. I was like, wow, that's, I really back that. She's on her own journaling, enjoying the sun, so on. I went over and I said, obviously served her drink, and I said, oh, are you journaling? And she said, yeah. And she explained she's a life coach. And then I said, oh, nice, that's amazing. Can I actually follow you? And I just felt this like feeling of like, I just wanted to follow her. I thought she just like seemed really cool. And she actually reached out and said, I'm actually looking for somebody to help me with my social media. Would you do it? An opportunity. And, I did really well that month. So I think just having the confidence to be like, oh, she's doing something that I'm interested in, or they're doing something that I'm interested in, I'm just going to strike a conversation about it. Just really builds your confidence, and then confidence to be able to talk to literally anybody. And again, loads of people hate talking on the phone. When you're a business owner or like a YouTuber, is that you have to force yourself to like present yourself, talk, very confidently to somebody that you don't know. If you can practice, reaching out to prospects via video, via phone, it's going to feel so easy over time. First few times you're going to shit yourself, and then after that it's going to be absolutely fine. I think it's really important as well to not be too gushing and not be too sort of butt licky to people, because people can sense disingenuousness. There is definitely a fine line between being confident and charismatic and being sociable, and then being a bit disingenuous by being maybe over complimentary or a bit intense. Yeah, just be yourself basically. And I know that's like really cliche, but if you can sort of say to somebody, I really like your outfit, like, where'd you get it from, rather than, oh my god, I love your outfit, like, I mean, obviously if that's your personality then it's fine, but don't put it on. You don't need to put on any mask. You just need to be yourself, and that is enough. You are interesting enough. Word of mouth is probably the most powerful marketing tool that you could ever have. So make sure the connections that you do have in your professional circle are going to be people that will mention your name in a room of opportunities. They're going to be people that really believe in your product. They're going to be people that understand your product and even know who you are and what you represent. You've got a really great personal brand, and that's again showcased through LinkedIn. So make sure that you're capitalizing on LinkedIn, because it's a very good free way of gaining a network. And it's the same with like things like Instagram. I've met so many great friends through Instagram and TikTok. And I'm actually doing a podcast next week with somebody in America because we connect on the same thing. We can do all the prospecting and outreach that we like, which is fine. It's really good for us to kind of gain that brand awareness or understanding of what we do. But if somebody trusts another person who has a good thing to say about you, they're going to want to invest in you. Just like when I go to networking events and say, present myself, I would actually be very pleasantly surprised at how many people were drawn to what I was doing, because I'd say it in a way that maybe other people wouldn't. It sounded really exciting. I had a good strapline for my business. I think I also try and strive to look quite unique and stand out when I go to these networking events physically as well. These are all things that people are drawn to that will build your social capital, and people will remember you. People will be like, oh, I remember, yeah, they look really unique, or they had something really unique to say, or they were really funny and charismatic, or whatever it might be. And this is coming from somebody who's really quite introverted. I spend a lot of time on my own because I prefer it. So it's definitely something that you can learn. Socializing is something that you can practice, and it only comes through practice. It's going to be hard initially, everything is. But if you can practice it and push yourself, you're going to gain so many opportunities from building up your network and building up the value in other people's heads for them to also do free advertising for you. When you have social capital, then these are people that maybe you've helped in the past or you've supported in the past, and they want to help you too. Like I said, they might want to promote what you do because they had such a good experience with you, but it might also be people that say they want to work for you. And that's certainly for me something that I experienced last year. I actually had 2 people who were helping me with my social media because they saw the value in building up a social media platform from scratch. They got the experience and they were able to add it to their CV. And actually one of them said to me, I actually in the future, once I've got some more experience and I've worked for a few other companies, they would like to work for me. That's their goal. And I thought, look, I was really pleased. If you give somebody value and if you can help them along their way, they're going to want to give back to you eventually. And it's not this thing of transactional, it's more reciprocity. I wasn't doing it in order to get a response like that. When you've kind of want to invest in somebody else's learning, there's the opportunity then for you to have people that push your business forward because they see value in you. Maybe not just kind of what you know or what you understand, but maybe just I want to be along the ride or be along the journey with this person. So you're building that human capital as well with people that want to support you, want to help you, want to push you forward, want to promote you, and want to do things for you. That's definitely something that I ended up finding out by building that social capital, by building a bit of a name for myself. When I was in uni and I saw this music label that I really liked, and I thought they had a really cool niche, and I really liked the bands that they supported and represented, and I was more than happy to just work for them and see what I could do to advance their social media and advance their marketing kind of strategy, because I wanted to be associated with a company like that. And of course, naturally, if there's people that want to kind of support you like you support them or so on, it means that you're able to build up financial capital without having to put loads of financial capital down, obviously, within reason. But obviously startups, they need a lot of capital to kind of get going. If you've kind of developed a really great sort of brand image and you provide value to people outside of monetary value that actively want to work for you, actively want to support you, actively want to push you forward, it means that you don't have to maybe put down as much financial capital to get started, because you've already got that human capital, that social capital that you've built up through your own grit and through your own hard work, that maybe isn't that financial capital, isn't the only valuable capital that people see as being part of your business or part of who you are and what you stand for. The final type of capital that I think is really, really, really important is emotional capital, or at least emotional intelligence. Being emotionally intelligent can get you so far, and I think it goes hand in hand with social intelligence and sort of social capital and also intellectual, because the more intelligent you are in terms of reading people, in terms of reading the room, understanding what makes people want to do things, understanding how humans work, can be really helpful. Personally for me, my whole channel is literally about emotional intelligence. My whole TikTok is about emotional intelligence, manifestation, and getting to where you want to be through the way that you think. These are all really crucial skills when it comes to business and being a content creator and getting what you deserve. If you struggle to say no, then it means that you know, you might miss out on opportunities, or you will sacrifice your emotional hygiene because you're doing something that you don't want to do because you can't say no, or it's standing up for yourself when you need to stand up for yourself in order to stop being taken advantage of, which again is a really key part of being in business. Because I think as well, when you start to heal and you start to become, you know, a better version of yourself, you start to thrive, and it means your business and your creative pursuits start to thrive as well, because you haven't got as many things in your way. And this is kind of like the premise of much of my channel, is that I recognize that the reason why I'm now more on YouTube and I'm actually going for it with my businesses is because I understand that I'm able to do that now that I've healed. When I was in a more sort of unhealed state, I wasn't happy, I was kind of constantly sad. It held me back because I wasn't able to even have the emotional capacity or emotional, like energy to do things like film, to do things like work on my businesses, because I think my self-esteem was also low as well. I didn't trust myself. I had people in my life that just were not meant to be there, and I was giving all that emotional capacity away to people that really didn't matter and shouldn't have been there. So having the emotional intelligence to be very discerning with your time and energy is so key, and understanding that you need to have boundaries. A massive part of being an entrepreneur and being a creator is you have to be able to say no, and you have to be able to stand up for yourself and command things that you think that you deserve. It's really a very key part. So understanding, you know, human psychology, understanding yourself, and being able to be introspective and reflective of your own actions is so key. If you cannot reflect at all and take accountability for mistakes that you've made, things that you've done wrong, how the fuck are you supposed to do that when it comes to your content creation and your business? You're just not going to grow. If you want to grow success in a business and, you know, be a content creator, to a far extent you have to come to it with a very small ego. You have to be able to take the L. You have to be able to acknowledge that you did things wrong, or that you need to take accountability for your mistakes, or you need to be okay with people thinking that you're embarrassing or cringy. You've got to have a low ego for that, and you've got to understand that the reason why people think you're cringy is a projection of them, not you. But you can't do that unless you understand that it's not about you. It's harder to do it if you're so worried about people judging you. You know, it holds you back, all these things. So understanding that things like projection take place, people are maybe rude to you or don't support you, is because they're maybe jealous, or they're, you know, you're reflecting back to them who they are, you're reminding them of something that they're not doing, they're kind of envious of who you are, you know, they look at you and maybe instead of being inspired or admired, they just think negative things like, oh, they think they're better than everybody else, and so on. Being able to understand that humans sometimes take their insecurities out on other people is so important, because then you don't take it personally. You don't get distracted by the fact that somebody's been mean because you understand that it's not about you, it's about them. And so being sort of self-aware, being aware of how other people operate and how they do things as a reflection of who they are, can get you out of your own way. I used to agonize so much about what people thought, judgments, what they said to me, and I don't really anymore. Sometimes, I'll read something and it hurts, not a very nice feeling, but I move on very quickly, because I know that if I dwell on it, it will hold me back. It's not something that's worth my time, and I'd rather spend my emotional time on building what I want to build so that I can make money. So all of these things combined are kind of the prerequisites to success and gaining financial capital. Emotional intelligence gets you out of your own way, keeps you from being distracted because you understand how humans operate. You're also able to read people much easier and able to attend to their needs in the sort of space of your content creation or in the space of your businesses. Being able to even understand your customer is really important. That requires emotional intelligence, and understanding of marketing is a massive thing. You need to be able to understand what your customers are thinking and psychology behind marketing. Just like building your social capital is going to, you know, put you in rooms that you don't actually exist in, but other people are going to say your name, they're going to talk about you in a room full of opportunities. You're going to expose yourself to people that are going to be able to help you and support you and invest in you. Just like the same with human capital, you're going to be able to create such a group of people around you that want to support you, want to build with you, want to help you out, and want you to flourish too. And of course, finally, intellectual capital. You can literally make money on what you know, your knowledge, the information you have in your brain, your speciality, and you can create a product that will make money for you over and over again. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took value from it. I hope that you feel like you can then start to build financial capital based on these 4 elements. All of these things are going to expedite and push you forward to creating that financial capital, and I hope this helps. I think it's something that I don't really hear being spoken about that often. We talk about a lot about, you know, make money on this, make money on that, you know, learn about this, learn about that, but these types of capitals are intangible things that we can't see that hold so much value. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Please subscribe and like this video if you did enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.